We are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Gem into Crypto, episode 1115. Today is Friday, June 30th, 2023, and I'm King here to bridge the gap between community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 10ish. And today's definitely been a 10ish day, and we know we missed yesterday. Bitcoin's day has still been on the move and on the go, so hopefully he gets settled in there. But today's top stories: SEC to present response to Coinbase's legal defense on July 13th, CME Group to introduce Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio futures, Revolut US to delist ADA, Matic, and Sol in September, North Carolina House passes bill to commission study on holding Bitcoin, and last but not least, you all saw a few days ago, it popped up as the show was going on, so had to wait, but Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy buys $347 million in Bitcoin following the recent upswing. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and take a quick look at these prices, see what's going on in the market today. A lot of action. Bitcoin's at $30,178 according to CoinMarketCap. Actually, let me update this for a moment. You know, things change. There we go. $30,178.41. Oh my God, it's swishing right in front of me. Down 1.49%. Ethereum at $1,853, down 3.38%. Number four, BNB at $235, down up 0.25%. These things are just clicking in front. You actually watch this on YouTube live, you'll see it. Number 7, Cardano at 28 cents, up 1.8%. And at number 10, Litecoin. What? Where did Litecoin come from to shoot up in the top 10? This is 2017 all over again. Litecoin's at $95, up 11.97%. So those are the top 10 trending or top 10 coins right now. For our trending coins, we have Maverick Protocol down 5.81%. Bitcoin Cash, wow, this is really a blast from the past right now, up 22.46% and up 1.08%. And it looks like now we have a fear and greed index on the top. It was on this coin market cap thing. It doesn't have I guess the newest coins. They took that away, which I'm kind of glad about. It's always just a weird token, but this is a cool thing. So the fear and greed index is at a 59. So when the value is close to 0, the market is in extreme fear and investors have oversold irrationally. When it's closer to 100, the market is in extreme greed, indicating a likely market correction. So it's interesting that it's at 59. I'm assuming this thing is going to go up to 100 or whatever. That kind of puts it at, 50-50. No one really knows. But kind of what we've been saying anyway and been thinking is that we still think a pullback needs to happen. But, hey, these institutions said we're not going to allow it. So shout out to the institutions for propping up the market 2020 into 2022 and 2023 for sure. All right, some quick shout outs before we get this show rolling. Of course, today is Fuck Bitcoin Friday. I'm about to go ahead and put the link in the chat. No need to wait. Feel free to call in and show your favorite shit coin. Give me to believe it and try to invest in it or gamble on it, should I say. Or just come in and tell me about Hex and Cardano. I want to hear about these UFOs Charles is chasing or what new Louis Vuitton bag old boy over at Hex has bought, Big RH. So love to hear some shilling going on. So feel free to call in. I'm about to go ahead and throw this video stream in the chat. Again, everybody feel free. Don't be long-winded. All right. You want a show, get your own show. Do not be long-winded. Couple minutes, couple points, get some arguments going, curse me out, and then go ahead and dip on up out of here. All right. Don't need to be here all day. Here we go. I just pinned that message. All right, really quick, want to give some shout outs. Chloe Dior, BK Crypto, Wendy Nichols, Tech, Bitcoin Shango, Wisdom Bars, Landon DePaul, Bitcoin Madam, No Cap, Chemo and Crypto, Wendy Nichols, what's going on, Wendy Andrew, Martins, Blockchain Bully, Price Cobbs. So what's up with Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash? I know, right? What's going on, Joshua Tapper? Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Old Matt, good morning. Jasmine B. No Cap, did your no, that call hasn't happened again yet. And it was actually Romania, I think, not Ukraine, if I'm thinking about the right thing. Price Cop says, is this a start of the next bull run or another reversal first? Like, honestly, like I said, that fear and greed index is pretty good at a 59. I do not know. I am still like, and here's why, because it's not like We can't go. Every day is a black swan event in Bitcoin and crypto right now. Put it like that. Like I'm telling you, the TA and the charts and like the TA matters up to the point of the movement already happening, right? So what I mean is, if we're about to take a severe dip, things in the background have already happened and played out, whether it's socially, politically, like it's so many other factors going into it. I mean, literally, if Gary Gensler gets a hard on for a certain project or projects, that could cause the market to dip. So if he wakes up Wednesday morning and just like, you know what? I don't like that so-and-so company. It's like the fourth biggest project on the top 10 type of deal. Yes, that is going to cause some ruckus in the market, right? So to me, it's like you cannot plan with that. You can't do TA to predict that. However, once he makes those statements, say Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., hey, I don't like this project or these projects or this is security or whatever. All right. Now there you can actually do TA and say, all right, based off of when he made these same type of assessments on different projects or what we've seen in the past, we can kind of expect the market to do X, Y, and Z, and then go from what you're actually seeing on the hourly or whatever charts you're looking at, right? But to me, a lot of this stuff is fundamental because it's happening. Like the new Black Swan events are happening on a daily basis. There's new organizations being formed as far as like Promethean one, right? Where it has a bunch of people that used to be regulators or are current regulators and federal government employees working for us. So it's like, okay, we know they're going to get a nod. You have BlackRock popping up saying, hey, we want an ETF too. They've only been denied one time. So like these are the events no type of charting and trending can get you prepped for. So with that being said, to me, there should have already been and there still should be a pullback, some type of retracement. However, again, 2 days ago, I didn't know Michael Saylor was about to buy $347 million worth of Bitcoin, right? So that's where it's like, all right, everything as the market says, especially what happened last year, this thing should be pulling back slowly and steadily right now. But since we do have institutional support, and again, that's where Bitcoin is saying, hey, in a few years, a couple years, your $200 is not going to matter anyway. Like your $1 million won't matter. There's literally one organization, one individual saying, hey, I'm just going to throw 347 at the board. So when those type of movements are happening simultaneously, when BlackRock is saying, hey, we're filing for ETF, we know they're definitely going to be trying to acquire Bitcoin in the background. Then you have new Bitcoin ETF applications from other competitors popping up, the wisdom trees and so on and so forth. That is also what's propping the market. So with all that being said, for the second time, the market is also being propped up by institutional support. So that's a very dangerous thing because if anything happens from a government point of view, if the SEC does say, hey, Fed now is the only token we can use, period. If we start to get that type of guidance or anything, you could see a lot of the money flow out of it from the institutional side, which will really cripple the market. Because again, with all this great news that's happening, BlackRock ETF, again, we mentioned Michael Saylor, all this stuff that's happening, we're still looking at a $30,000 Bitcoin. So in the sense, that's good because the floor has been found. I think we can all say between 20 and 30K, which is a great thing. But on the flip side, it's like that floor is being propped up also by institutional support already. So if anything were to happen, you can go back. So with that being said, 59 on the Fear and Greed Index. It's a 50-50. It's tough to see. I still think we're some ways out from the happening, and a lot of madness can happen. We got to go to the end of the year. Bitcoin birthday will have a pump or whatever. So I still think we have some retracement left. We definitely have some retracement left, in my opinion. This is not the commencement of a bull cycle, but hey, I've been wrong before, right? So who knows? But that's my thoughts. I'm actually glad we spent some time on that because it is important for us to talk about Bitcoin price and price movement, especially when the rest of the market is still tethered to it. I saw Bitcoin they do a video the other day about Bitcoin dominance still being at a pretty high amount and leading the market. So that was pretty interesting, cool to see. All right, top story of the day. And really quick, the podcasts have been updated. If you're not seeing some of the newest ones from the last couple of days, just give it another hour or so. But they have been updated. It's taking a while to promulgate in there. And then this one will be following it up. We'll keep on it again. All right, SEC to present response to Coinbase's legal defense on July 13th. Unfortunately, I figured out what was wrong with the soundboard and everything. That's what I was doing before the show. I have to make some updates on a couple of different programs it connects to. So I don't have my ding, ding, ding but I would be making that sound effect as the fight has officially commenced. SEC said we are not ducking any phase, especially not from you, Coinbase. We already got y'all boys and girls on the wraps, and we will holler at you on July 13th. The court also rescheduled the pretrial conference to a pre-motion conference, shifting that, again, that was July 13th from original date of August 24th. So that's cool that we actually get the ball kicked off and started here with this. I love the artwork. Shout out to Cointelegraph of Gary Cotton and planning. I will say that if this was moved up, I'm not, let me read the article before I make an assumption. Let me read the article. I'm a headline. I love the headlines and analyze them from that. But let's get into the article. United States Securities and Exchange Commission will present its response to Coinbase's first legal defense on July 13th, according to a court order issued on Thursday, June 29th. The legal document filing, the SEC submitted a request to the court for a so the SEC wants this 3 business day extension. It was sought to provide the SEC adequate time to prepare a response to the letter submitted by Coinbase, the defendant, and the defendant have agreed to that request. This is pretty interesting. The previous deadline again was on July 3rd, but according to a rule in the court's individual rules, the judge approved the SEC's request for more time and set the new date of July 13th. So this is what I was actually wondering. I was trying to figure out, that's when, before I said I don't want to assume anything, I wasn't sure if the SEC asked for the date change or Coinbase. And I was going to say the SEC asked for the date change to begin with, but essentially in the opposite direction. The court rescheduled the pre-trial and pre-motion conference, bringing it to July 13th instead of the original date of August 24th. So my thoughts on this are, it's one of those things. If the government was already good to go and ready, you have to remember, even as big as Coinbase is, $100 billion or whatever, they're still not bigger than the American government. Like no one is, right? So if the government wasn't prepped already, to me, it's kind of showing me cracks in their, I don't know, offense or defense, however you want to put it. Same way we kind of saw with XRP, where it's just been dragged out now for years. And it's like, I strongly dislike that, because it's like, hey, if what they're doing is so wrong, throw someone in jail or let it go, right? Like, you're literally searching for fines. You're literally trying to figure out how to take more American money for whatever reason. So to me, it's the same thing that's happening here. The SEC, to me, should not be the people getting date changes and requesting. Like, no, you are the government. You decided to bring this case and this litigation and all these things forward to Coinbase to begin with, as far as blockading new innovative technologies, whether it be the lending programs or whatever, good or bad or ugly, as far as to actually allow them to use it to see if it works. They went through you going public. Like, they're trying to follow every order given from the government while there isn't any clarity for companies of that magnitude. And then you want to switch around dates. It's like, no, you should be ready already. You're saying we're doing this wrong, we're doing that wrong. What do you need dates for to get ready? Like, literally, Coinbase should be the one asking for extra time all the time, because they're more in a reactionary state since they're a private company. Like, the government has all the guidance of the law. They have everything at their fingertips. So I'm not sure what additional time is being needed from the SEC, especially if they're saying that, hey, Coinbase is in the clear-cut wrong. If that's the case, literally point to the document from the government that says how and why, and Coinbase will have to do everything in their power to argue why that's not true. But I'm not seeing why the SEC would need additional time. You can see this is the letter here. Where actually, dear Judge Falala, regarding Securities and Exchange Commission versus Coinbase Incorporated and Coinbase Global. And wow, yeah, you can see here it is from the U.S. SEC. Like, come on, the SEC is writing the judge a letter. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. To me, they're just showing a super weak case. And to me, it's just giving Coinbase even more credit that they're not doing anything wrong. But hey, can't wait to see what happens. We have an official date for the start of this fight. I'm sure it's probably going to be a non-starter. A couple of things will be thrown out there, a couple of bullet points, but for the most part, they're going to try to keep delaying it as well. Like, if they need more time and they've only been granted a couple more weeks, they're probably going to try to push that out even further. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let me turn on this chat, see what's going on while I'm actually watching the video. I don't have Bitcoin Zay here to take a break. Yes, can't remember. We covered that Wednesday. I believe we did, but Fidelity applied for an ETF as well. I keep forgetting them, so I can't just say BlackRock. Fidelity is in the mix. And yes, that is, I mean, Fidelity, BlackRock, ETF filings, and then Michael Saylor buying $300 and about $50 million worth of Bitcoin. And we're still at 30K. So again, it's a good thing that is being held up, but I mean, at the same time, you would think those type of movements would make this thing shoot up to 50 or 60K, but since it's propping it to 30K, I don't know if those type of movements slow down, the news cycle gets a little slow. We might see some dips, but we shall see. Let's see. Birdtown Music Group said this is exactly the same playbook they use for Ripple. Exactly, that's my point. And at the rate this is going, like Ripple, Coinbase will be tied up in litigation for the next 3 to 5 years. But again, going back to Sammy the Bull Gravano, we showed that interview here on this show before, or pieces of that interview for when he did like a Nightline or 60 Minutes or whatever interview from about 15 or 20 years ago. He was saying, hey, you know, one of the ways we are working with the government and regulators and also being criminals is that we don't have to bust up an operation, like literally physically go in there and beat people up and rob them. He was like, no, we can do something as simple as, you know, having the cops or whatever regulator and agency come down and check. So every entering and exiting truck of any competing trucking company. So they're like, hey, we're not even literally robbing them. We're not beating nobody up. We're not pushing the union toward them. We're just calling the regulators, just calling some people over there, and we're making sure that every truck that enter and leaves that property is being inspected fully, technically as they're supposed to, but they're doing every truck. They said eventually this would slow down, you know, the workload, how many trucks could leave and actually come back. It will slow down business. You do this for 3 to 5 months. Next thing you know, that business is going out of business because they can't afford to stay open any longer because of this type of over regulation toward them, which was actually coming from the mafia. This is the same playbook they're doing to Ripple, they're doing to Coinbase, and any other competitor they're going to do it to, which is, to me, is crazy. I'm saying competitor because we're all supposed to be Americans, but this is what the government's kind of doing and positioning itself for, so that the friends of the government, private companies like the Federal Reserve, will have an opportunity to do a FedNow coin in exchange and things like that. And the competition is either weak or literally, you know, dismantled by then. So that's essentially what's going on here. You know, confessions of an economic hitman type of deal. But yeah, we're seeing it with XRP, and even not even if, but when the, you know, the SEC drops this lawsuit against them, or they find a comfortable number where XRP will say, we're not admitting any wrongdoing, or, you know, we didn't do anything right or wrong, but here's your money, the fine we'll give you. Once they reach a comfortable number for that, or is dropped in its entirety, it won't even matter, because it's a win for the United States government, because they already wasted 2 or 3 years of XRP's time and money and resources. Hey, you get them for another 6 months, it'll be a win. You get them for another 2 weeks, it'll be a win. So it's technically already a win in the government's eyes, because they slowed them down. I'm sure they stole technology by requesting different types of data points that I'm sure the courts granted if the SEC knew how to write and kind of attack the reason why they needed the certain data points. So there's all different types of ways and manipulation going on. And I mean, hey, people, we're talking about possibly the future of the economic system, not only here in the United States, but globally. So yeah, nobody's playing fair. It is what it is. It's literally economic war going on in the background, but this is the madness. Let's see. All right, Landon, call in with this. This one I want to hear some DGen stuff. He said Harvest Finance Farm is going to rip next cycle. DGen for life. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see. Robert said the crypto world would just move past the US. You know what? It will, but the US has so many things. Like, there'll always be like entrepreneurs who are into crypto who will move here, live here, do things here. There'll always be organizations. So because of that, our government and regulators will always kind of like be overseeing it as well. So we'll see. Asymmetrical warfare, you know it. True Belief said, we're not going to take it. You already know it. Craig, you are right. Craig said, isn't this one of the risks of mass adoption? What's our next move to counter these governmental attacks? So for one, yes, like this is the risk of mass adoption. I mean, it's kind of like your favorite underground rapper you can't wait to tell people about. i.e. Drake. Hey, people, you forget Drake was underground on Lil Wayne mixtapes and stuff. My friends and I wouldn't even listen to him at first. He was singing. We was like, this is back in the day. People was rapping, not rapping and singing. This guy singing. What's going on? I don't know guys are singing to me until we actually heard it. It was like, oh, this guy's a great artist, whoever. But but on a serious note, you know, your favorite underground rapper is only your favorite and only underground until you tell everybody, and then boom, next thing you know, it's Drake, right? So it's kind of the same thing with mass adoption. It's like this technology works so great and it's great community, and then it's like boom, it's about to get big, and this is one of the risk of it is that everybody's going in, including our regulators. So our next move to counter these governmental attacks is to self-regulate. I think the crypto community, and we're kind of already headed toward that, but we do need to form almost like a super PAC, basically a lot of money with a lot of people, and not necessarily in one pot, but a lot of people wallets to represent a lot of money. That way they see the resources that we have. That way, when we do get craziness and madness talk like we have now, when they're trying to go after the Coinbases or the XRPs, there's literally almost like a crypto lobbying group of enthusiasts who are actual lawyers, judges, so on and so forth, who are like, no, we are about to put the pressure right back to you. And the good thing about what's going on in crypto right now is that we don't have to create that. It's already being created on its own through legacy systems. So the same way we have our Congress right now being split in two over these issues, I think that's going to happen across the board. So I guess the short answer is time, right? There's not even that much we need to do, but continue to educate and bring more people on to crypto, especially the younger generations, because it's going to be just like rap. No matter how much the SEC and Gary Gensler hates it, you know, his niece or goddaughter or his goddaughter, who was what's her name? The girl who's working over at FTX, her boyfriend is going to end up being Sam Bankman-Fried, or one of her boyfriends, right? So eventually their children and the people close to them that they love will be touched by it. And I think that would kind of help make this thing work, hopefully. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. Dub Proof says same risk as the weed industry. How you like your legal weed sales taxes? Where's the mom and pop shops? Listen, weed is being taxed at least, I would say roughly about 33%. It's insane. That's an insane tax right there for something that grows out of the ground, for sure. You got to be honest. Like that's a government hustle right there. We're going to sell you some man-made drugs, and we're going to charge you incredible rates to sell something that grows out of the ground right next to you. You got to love the future. Okay, next up, back to crypto. This is a story that, hey, inevitable. We just talked about a mass adoption. I do not think this is going to be great for the industry, but it is what it is. CME Group set to introduce Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio futures. The scheduled launch date for these futures contracts is set for July 31st, pending regulatory review. Listen, the headline is a story. They're going to do Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio futures. One thing I will add to it, though, that's important is, according to this announcement, the settlement of Ether Bitcoin ratio futures will be in cash. This will be settled. This is very important. Based on the final settlement price of CME Group's Ether futures divided by the final settlement price of CME Group's Bitcoin futures, which is hilarious as well because they're doing it to their own price, of course. So, hey, there won't be any manipulation for sure. Moreover, this new contract will adhere to the identical listing cycle observed in CME Group's Bitcoin futures and Ether futures contracts. The issue with this is that it creates derivatives on derivatives. People, I told you it was going to happen, and here it is. It's freaking happening. Like, they're making an Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio future, poof, out of thin air, and it's going to be settled in cash. So at least props to, like, hey, hand freaking clap. Like, I really should have took some financial classes in college and got a degree in that stuff, mathematics, because holy smokes, I'm talking house of cards. No, don't look at this hand. Look at this hand, but then look at this hand. Like, it's just so much craziness going on here. First, we did Bitcoin and Ether futures, which is already getting people off of Bitcoin, off of Ethereum. They're getting them off those tethers, right? They're tethering you to the almighty dollar still. For the company, this is brilliant because whether we actually go to a Bitcoin standard like we did a gold standard or not, the fact is Bitcoin will be around because right now it's like the most technologically advanced way to secure value and transfer value between yourself and another party without interruption. So like as long as that technology is superior, it's going to be here. So these billionaires and bigger companies, they see that. They're happy with saying, you know what? I don't want to keep my entire portfolio in gold. I sure as shit don't want to keep it in cash. But yeah, I will expose myself to a lot of Bitcoin. Why? Because I control, they understand the properties of this stuff, right? Meanwhile, while they're holding it, they're like, look, we're going to hold this just in case, and we're still going to continue to make money because we're going to poof out of thin air say that this Bitcoin is worth this amount of actual dollars or future contracts that you can buy with actual dollars. So not even dollars you're buying IOU pieces of paper, digital IOU pieces of paper with the real dollars. So now you're giving this company real dollars and they have Bitcoin and they're giving you back paper. Point blank, period. You're getting back this digital paper, these digital certificates. But to add insult on top of injury, they're going to say this paper we're giving you, we're creating a whole new market with that shit. All right, so this Ethereum paper and this Bitcoin paper, now we're going to actually have a whole new ratio of futures you can bet on this paper too. So now you're going to give more money, not even to the initial paperwork of the Bitcoin futures, but to an actual secondary market on top of it. They just told you they're going to be using their own Bitcoin and futures market to observe it or to use it or whatever. They're going to put a secondary market on top. You're going to put more money to. Like, hand fucking clap. I mean, goodness gracious, that is derivatives on top of derivatives, which is what I said would happen. Now, why is this bad for the market? First and foremost, because all that capital could be going straight to Bitcoin, especially could be going to individuals buying Bitcoin, but instead those individuals will be giving all their capital to the companies, which in turn the companies will be buying Bitcoin themselves. So I don't want to hear anyone cry foul in the next 3 to 5 years when if we do go to a Bitcoin standard or any type of digital currency standard where Bitcoin is important, no one has any and all the companies have it. And it's like, yeah, you can buy something from us at a premium. I don't want to hear anything. All right. Like it's going to be this writing was on the wall. But that's why I think it's bad. Now, hey, I don't want to be all negative Nancy. On the good side of things for legacy markets and for people who want to be cash rich, this could be good things, right? Now you have, again, a Bitcoin and Ether futures market and then a Bitcoin to Ethereum ratio futures market to kind of bet on if you didn't, for whatever reason, want to buy any of these underlying assets. So I'm sure there'll be a ton of different algorithms, bots, so on and so forth to go with this market, to go with this futures ratio market, this ratio futures market. But to me, this is like what I feared and saw coming, and that was derivatives on top of derivatives. And here's the fun part. But wait, there's more. People, we're just getting started. This is just CME. Can you imagine this thing in 20 years? I mean, listen. For one, this is why the IRS hired 83,000 people. I keep telling you, our government is not stupid. We do dumb moves because we have a lot of selfish and greedy individuals in it, but it's not like a stupid system. The system is working. In 20 years was a stretch. In 10 years, 15 years, these markets are going to be so crazy, not to even mention the DeFi side of the house who's going to try to copy this and say, hey, we can give you Ethereum and Bitcoin ratio futures on DeFi. Like the government won't be able to keep up with who money, what money, where money. It's going to get crazy. All right. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a fun future. That's a good thing about it. But as far as all this pocket watching, unless the government develops additional systems or literally forces people to only use certain systems, apps, websites to browse and to do banking, then there will be no way to keep up with everything. I mean, literally, this is one company doing derivatives on top of derivatives. I love it though. Listen, we got to be adaptable. It is what it is. It's definitely happening. And my thing is, when it comes to technology is a genie. The genie's not going back in the bottle. All right. It's not, we're not going to get away from lending. I just saw the other day, I'm not even covering the story, but a new lending firm popped up. It's like, hey, we're here to do all the new crypto lend. They literally said it. For all the companies that failed, we're here to scoop it up. It's not stopping. It's technology. The tech works. And I mean, it's kind of like the drug game. It's like criminal game. Like, and not saying that what they're doing is criminal, but it's criminal in the sense of how much stuff is illegal that people still do. How many markets are illegal that people still engage in? They're like, this is the way to make money. They're doing it. So in this way, this is something that's way more safer. In some places, super legal, and there's ways to not only make money, but it's ways to take over markets and take over industries and become a titan. So yes, people are going to continue swinging for the fences. I'm not mad at CME. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Shout out to them. But holy shit, it's about to get crazy. We're about to use every last one of those 83,000, whoever IRS agents. We're about to use every last one of them. I guarantee it. Okay, we're using all those IRS agents. It's getting crazy. I don't know. What do you all think? Let's see. Landon DePaul said 401k Bitcoin. Seriously. Seriously. You know what? No, it's not going to be a 401k Bitcoin. If you're lucky, it'll be that. It'll be a 401k Satoshis. Okay. It's gonna get crazy. Let's see. Robert Vermouth, what's going on? Said buying spot Bitcoin is not feasible for 401ks and people who don't want to deal with seed phrases. Hey, this is true, but I'll say right now, it's true for right now. So I get what you're saying, but and even then, not really. On exchanges, they do have programs and stuff. So you don't have to do it through the future. But I get what you're saying. It is adding exposure, but it doesn't matter if it's not the underlying asset. I think that's the thing people are forgetting. If it's not the underlying asset, it doesn't matter. We just saw it with FTX. Like we just saw it, and we can name so many more companies. Hey, you have all our Bitcoin and crypto in dollars. Hey, so what? Do something. Oh, that's right. You can't. Like, oh, you're going to hire lawyers or class action. Okay. We have money to give even better lawyers, and they'll figure that out, pay the bills. Listen, Sam Bankman-Fried, that's a free or freed. Exactly. He's running around, people. He's outside. It doesn't matter. You need to have the underlying asset in this case. You all tell me, if you had $40 billion in Bitcoin, whether it was supposed to be yours or not, do you think you'd be forking it all over? I don't know. If you're not killing people, definitely, I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know that one. All right. Let's see. Another story we got Revolut. What is Revolut? It reminds me of them. Isn't it a company like this? Revolut US to delist ADA, Matic, and Sol in September. Crypto friendly, doesn't sound like it. Neobank Revolut has halted purchases of Cardano, Polygon, and Solana for US customers, but holding and selling remains available until mid-September. Oh, you're right. Okay. Like, they're hilarious. They're like, hey, we're not going to let y'all buy and sell this no more, but we're going to continue to buy and sell it to you until we can get this up our books. You can't just be holding now. It looks like it was preparing to completely delist the tokens Cardano, Solana, and Matic from its platform in September. A spokesperson for the firm told Cointelegraph on June 29th, it notified its U.S. customers about the change, stating that buying those assets would be immediately closed for all customers, and they would actually still hold and sell those assets until September 18th. Now, they said they're doing this you can see here, due to changing laws and regulations around cryptocurrency in the United States. I can believe them. We saw the SEC commissioner come out, Mr. Burns, Gary Gensler come out, essentially saying, hey, the next 20 tokens, he named like 20 different tokens, all y'all securities. And these were some of the ones he named, made mention to, and so on and so forth. So again, this is the rock and the hard place for these new companies who are trying to be innovative and offer these assets and compete with the foreign companies who have all these assets on their platforms. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you're literally disregarding what the United States government said, you will be found running afoul. So that's not good either. So in an effort to prevent that, they're delisting. So to me, that's fine. My only beef with that is like, don't say you're crypto friendly and all this other stuff. No, right now, being crypto friendly is drawing a line in the sand. You are on the opposite side of our government right now if you're crypto friendly. They are clearly not crypto friendly. They have made that overtly clear. They're not even calling it by these names. They're taking what we consider different token projects and saying, no, that's the security. And we're saying, like, no, it's not. They're like, oh, yes, it is. They were like whooping your ass like I said it was. So like you have to be clear with that. So I'm not mad. I know about marketing and that no matter what, they're probably gonna always say, hey, we're crypto friendly and we da. But at the end of the day, like right now, if you're delisting some of the more popular tokens, especially Matic, then it's like how crypto friendly are you really, right? Like it doesn't really seem like it. Um, let's see. But for the most part, that's the story. I think this was important though, because this won't be the only exchange doing it. Expect to see wallets doing it as well, exchanges. So it may be hard to get some of your favorite crypto assets. But again, this goes back to that mafia example. The government isn't really trying. I mean, if they can kill it, cool. But more or less, it's trying to slow down, redirect some of the capital flow that's going there to their own projects. That's the big deal here. If the government can slow down Cardano, well, they don't. I mean, Cardano's going to slow itself down. So fuck Bitcoin Friday. Cardano and Charles is going to slow itself down, and Solana still has a long way to go. But for projects like Matic, where people actually have been using, see the value there and all that stuff, the US just needs to slow them down 3 to 5 years, especially in the market now at this point where it's safe to say most projects, companies, organizations, everything, you get in 3 to 5 years. I mean, you're literally an athlete, entertainer in this business. And that's if you're lucky, right? Like most people have the 2 to 3 years. And for the exchanges, when we're looking at exchanges, we've already said they're only getting 2 to 3 years of being like all stars before they blow a hamstring or something. They're injured. It's like a career-ending injury for most of them. So we're seeing this same thing, I think, with Revolut. They're trying to figure out a way to maintain their lifespan, and other exchanges will have to do it. But I tell you what, if they're going to be delisting tokens, all that's going to do is cut their lifespan. They know the crypto audience does not play that. No one, I mean, hey, if it's like we can't get the tokens that are the best tradable assets on your platform, there's no reason to go on your platform, especially when you're going to do KYC, especially when it's going to be a tax burden, especially when you might have terms of service that change, that will limit the amount of Bitcoin I can take on and put. I was like, it's just such a headache when you could just mess with the platforms, exchanges, and those people, or I won't even say people, those projects offering all the tokens and selections that you want. So that just makes sense. All right, going over to the comment section. Cryptworks said Revolut is garbage. I thought so too. I haven't used them though, so I didn't say anything. But I was like, I don't even hear them. I haven't heard of them. But again, the importance of that story is that exchanges and wallets will start doing this to protect themselves for sure. Let's see. Landon DePaul said, my company matches paper Bitcoin. I'm selling out. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's good business. It could be bad, everything else, moral, ethics, whatever. But for the people who are doing it, they're choosing this good business. Now, in my personal opinion, I think in some ways, like the FTX thing, that's something that can get you hung. Like, luckily, our country as a whole and other countries aren't as well, I won't say aren't as barbaric, because we still definitely, I mean, what's worse, hanging a couple of people or bombing a whole region. I'm not gonna say we're not as barbaric, but what I will say is we try not to be as barbaric up front. Like, we're not hanging you for this type of stuff. But yeah, that FTX type stuff, that'll get you hung, man. And if you did it against the government, it would definitely get you kidnapped and thrown in prison if you're lucky. So that's something to think about. Lewis Blake said the SEC does not make laws. Why would they delist them? Oh, SEC don't care. They say, hey, surprise, surprise. We do a lot more than what you think. Kai said, I see the SEC hinting at denying ETF applications for lack of clarity and completeness. I mean, they could, but I feel like if they were to, like, okay, if Fidelity and BlackRock doesn't get their ETF in the next year, then what's his name? The current Gary Gensler, Mr. Burns, he won't be in there. He won't be in there either through resignation, getting fired, heart attack. He won't be there. Like, he won't be there. So let's give it a year and see what happens. Humney, I agree. They said they're going to do something funny like fractional Bitcoining or something. Like, I can see like fractional Bitcoin and stuff. Let's see. Robert said, I buy gold through my retirement plan. I have no desire to store gold at my house. So saying, Robert, I've bought precious metals before through different plans and funds, but I was the same way. Like, my whole thing with the gold thing has always been like, what? Okay. COVID goes on for 6 more years, right? Right? Like, I think cash will still, for the most part, be pretty decent, but because of what it represents to gold, we had to get back to gold standard. But how does this work? Like, do you go to the bank one day, or you go to your gold dealer and you get all your gold back, you put it in the SUV, you drive it home, you unload it, Like then when you need it, you scrape some off, or do you get it back in smaller bricks, or you bring a brick to the bank and they give you change? Like it's just so cumbersome. I just don't see it. Not as long as we have the internet. As long as we have the internet, it's going to be digital gold, or like Robert said, digital gold through a retirement plan, or like myself through some type of fund or something, right? It's not happening. All right. Last couple of stories. North Carolina. Again, I'm not, to start off, I am not really a fan of the entire passing bills for or against anything Bitcoin, crypto adjacent. And the reason why is because it's a slippery slope. Because the moment they start using taxpayer money and passing any type of bills to do with this, then you better believe the snowballs already began its ascent downhill. All right, but this was a funny story too, and it's such a slap in the face to those like Bitcoin Zay who's been in North Carolina, or even I forgot, like the North Carolina Bitcoin or Charlotte Bitcoin meetup group. But North Carolina House passes bill mission study on holding Bitcoin. That's right. They'll be using taxpayer money to study holding Bitcoin. The study will examine the possible impact of holding crypto and how the state would custody digital currency. Literally, Bitcoin Zay has been beating on the door of the Chamber of Commerce in Charlotte, different agencies throughout Charlotte and North Carolina in general, trying to spread that Bitcoin gospel. And in 2023, they're saying we need to do a study on holding this. People, when I tell you, I give it, like, we literally have it all written out already. We have this, I'm gonna hit these people up. We got to hit these people up. We got the study written out. This is madness. We got to figure this out. But then the whole possible impact of holding crypto, the amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that goes on is madness. So again, for anybody, including a state, a government, anybody who has additional capital, which we always have. Why? Because we're not feeding the homeless, right? But seriously, anybody who has any additional capital, you can literally say, let's sprinkle 0.001% on it. Let's sprinkle. How much is 0.001% from the North Carolina House? Like legitimately, that is even though we're at a minimum $10,000, which it would not be a minimum, probably $150K type of deal, you are still doing great. You will be able to see the impact. I don't know. This is a weird one to me, but the bill would see that North Carolina's Department of State Treasurer study the feasibility and benefits of the state holding Bitcoin has passed the lower house of General Assembly. June 28th, the North Carolina House of Reps passed a bill which will commission a $50,000 study to examine acquiring, securely storing, insuring, and liquidating both gold, bullion, and virtual currencies such as Bitcoin. Crazy thing enough, too, people, I am not lying to you. Every now and then I get into it if I don't understand it, as in the headline, but usually I just read the headlines. I don't go into the stories because I love having my own live reaction with everyone. Same thing whenever I interview people. It's very rare I talk to them a lot before I interview them, whether I know them or not, especially if I don't know them. I tell them, I'm like, I'm not even trying to talk to you because I want my questions to be so organic, and I want my reaction to be so organic. And usually there's like, sometimes they're worried, like, well, we need to get on like 10 minutes before and sound checks. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll figure all that live. You know me, guys. Like, we'll mess it up live and figure it out. Like, I want genuine reaction. So I have not read this article, but boom, goes the dynamite. People, I just said the chances of Bitcoin actually becoming a reserve currency, and here you have North Carolina actually studying this type of shit. They're not going to study both liquidating and insuring gold, bullion, and virtual currency such as Bitcoin if they don't plan on having it. So you know what? As I was speaking, I had to calm myself down. I listened to my better half, who's like, hey, these things take time. You have to work in steps, King. It doesn't just happen overnight. Everyone's not going to just get, okay, fine. I know I'm hard on everyone. My bad. This is one of the first steps if a state wants to legally store Bitcoin, or, I get it. All right, I get it. That was my bad. We don't want Washington, D.C. We don't want another civil war in the United States. I get it. All right. So, yes, this is the first step. I'll be nice to North Carolina House. Maybe they already know what they're doing, but they're just writing this out because it is still North Carolina. No offense, all my friends out there. Hey, it is what it is. Some backwoods. Y'all get the information slower and longer before a lot of other people. So, all right, whatever. They're going to do it this way. And I'm assuming the next step is, all right, let's actually store a small percentage. Okay, shout out North Carolina. I'm sorry, North Carolina. I was being an asshole just now. There it is. So this is, I didn't read the story, but this is cool to see. And I hope it does become a reserve currency. But again, if it does become one, this goes back to the entire derivatives on top of derivatives of Bitcoin. North Carolina is also a banking state. Bank of America is in the background. They've already been into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for a while now, so I'm sure they have people lobbying this. But if this does become state backed or used as a backed currency of some sort or reserve currency, then yeah, all those companies like CME that's starting these derivatives, they are about to quickly acquire all the Bitcoin they lost throughout the years. Now, the great thing about all this is that if you're an individual holder of any of this stuff, hodler, the price is going to drastically go up. Like I said, I think after the halving, we'll see our first $100,000 Bitcoin. I think we'll get to about 150K before we get that dip. And I do think we'll have our first ever in history, like 80, 90K dip because, yeah, once it starts passing those points, you'll see these 10, 20K candles. We'll start creeping up closer to 200 exuberance, and then boom, we'll get that 40% hit type of deal. And literally 70K, 80K overnight will just disappear. It will freak people out, right? So I think that will come, but I think it's going to come soon too, next year and a half, 2 years. So I can't wait for that one. But here it is, Dan Spuler, another bipartisan victory in North Carolina with passes HB 721. This is my only thing about these bills and stuff. It's just, man, you'll be reading all day to figure out what the hell one state is doing, much less the entire nation. It was passed 75-38. GOP plus Dems came together. Direct funds at NC Treasurer to study benefits of Bitcoin custody, led by, okay, there we go, North Carolina Blockchain and Sound Money Dev. My bad, y'all. I didn't read the whole article. Let me go ahead and check them out, give them some quick shout outs. Oh, I'm not logged into Twitter. Okay, I need to be logged into Twitter, but shout out to them. This is pretty cool to see. I can give Bitcoin Zay a shout to see what his thoughts are on this story. But glad to see that actually pass. And really quick, we got OMAC on. There we go. I was about to say really quick. I'll say if you wanted to give any calls in, make sure you get these calls in because I'm going to cover this sailor story and call it a day. But we got OMAC in the house. OMAC, how you doing? How you been?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Hold on
Yourself?
real quick. I don't know if it's me who can't hear you or everyone. You know what? It is me. Hold on. Let me get this together. Okay, there we go. I didn't have a partner in crime today, so I have my headphones. So how you doing, OMAC?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
Which you about to drive through some towns and spread this Bitcoin gospel?
Hey, look. Remember when I talked to you guys? I think about a few months ago, and like I mentioned, we need to be watching Ledger because Ledger is about to turn into a bank.
Okay. Is that the play
Uh,
still?
hey, look. Ledger just opened up to institutional investors a new system called Trade Link, where they can quote unquote match up with other people that have Bitcoin and also like Ethereum, and
Mm.
literally, Ledger's going to get a fee for that hookup. So
I,
Ledger is about to grow big time.
I see it right now. So essentially, Ledger they're saying, hey, we're the enterprise wallet. We're the enterprise wallet, or
Right.
we're the enterprise exchange. Don't
Mm-hmm.
go to those petty exchanges with all these individuals and lose your money. No, come to us and we'll swap custody, do everything you want. Hey, listen, not saying it would happen, but it would be hilarious if Ledger pulled the greatest heist in history and just kept all the governments and banks' money. Hey, send SEAL Team 6 to go holler at them boys. Like that's literally what will happen next. But what else has been going on,
Well,
Mac? What you got for us? What do you think about some of the regulatory moves that's been happening? Some of the hex moves we've seen dip. Of course, we're talking Cardano and UFOs. What are your thoughts on the market right now?
no, well, one, I'm gonna basically say this. I've never been convinced of hex at all. I've never been convinced of that. So I've never got into it. When it comes down to the market, and you look at the fact of you got BlackRock, you got Fidelity, you got Invesco, you got all the big boys now deciding that they want to get in on this ETF. Then you look at Kathy Woods. Kathy Woods, her ETF was already submitted. I think hers is about a month ahead of BlackRock's. She then updated her language to use the same language that BlackRock is basically using. So that means potentially Kathy Woods may get the first ETF using the same language as BlackRock. So that would be a feather in her hat big time. I think it would be great for the industry. I am still concerned that too many people are going to is going to basically jump in, and they're going to let these, these big firms sit there and hold their crypto. That is a no-go to me.
That's going to
For
happen.
me,
It's going to happen.
yeah. But the fact is, letting them do that is a bad thing. I'm sorry. It can work from a money standpoint, but if the government ever comes in and says, "Look, BlackRock, ARK, and all that, whoever you got the crypto from, we now want it. You just gave up your access." That's my main problem there is that. You know, I can kind of go with what Ledger's doing, where they're saying that they're going to contact individuals and say, "Look, do you want to earn not, do you want to earn 9% onto your Bitcoin?" And to be honest, that does sound appealing. And especially if we could multi-sig it to where, number one, I still keep control of it. That, to me, that makes sense. But to just hand it over to BlackRock, hand it over to, to those boys, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I basically work too hard for my money. I work too hard for
Yeah,
it.
it might be interesting. People might actually start to swap out and say, you know what, I am comfortable doing cash investments or handing the cash over to banks or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, you know what? I just thought it would come to the custodial issue, though. It still always comes back to custodial. You're right, especially when you have a custodian saying, we'll give you 9% on it as well. What are you going to do with it? I mean, listen, I think it's one of those things where it's never going to stop. Maybe it's just human nature where we need these boom bust cycles where we just trust. Oh shit, trust. Oh shit, trust. Oh shit, trust.
Well,
So
yeah,
who knows?
yeah. Well, and also, just another thing too is that when you look at what BlackRock has done, BlackRock has said that for custodial services, they're going to use Coinbase. Now, mind you, if if the G man is going after Coinbase, and here come BlackRock saying, "Yo, this is my boy. We're gonna be doing this together." That means BlackRock has a high level of trust that them working with with them working with Coinbase is not going to interrupt anything. So I got a funny feeling that that Coinbase case is probably going to wind up getting just settled, or more likely just get dropped, and BlackRock is going to basically walk in there and basically get it done.
Yeah, like I said, and I hate to go this direction with it, but it is what it is. I mean, it hasn't been fair play thus far, and there has been a lot of people in crypto to come up missing and things happen. If BlackRock, it, I'll give it a year or two. Listen,
Yeah.
hey, heart attacks included, natural things included. I'm including everything because that boy been talking and he ain't been coughing yet. He made it through COVID. So in a year or two, hey, I don't want to hear nothing about listen. So we'll see. I think they'll go. But speaking of which, so before we let you go, I want to get two quick thoughts from you because this has been on everyone's mind. Kind of like when we talked about the fear and greed index earlier. Where do you think this is the commencement of a bull cycle, or is this some BS? Are we about to dump? And then, what are your thoughts on ETF? Will any of these people get an ETF soon? It's going to happen in a month, 2 months. I saw Jake just mention August. It might happen. What are your thoughts? Bitcoin
One,
price and ETF.
I believe we beginning of a bull market. I really do. I really do believe one, that this is the start of a bull market. I believe to where one, there's enough big money coming in. Also, the fact that retail is now coming in, I'm like to play. Now, do I believe we're going to hit 50,000 right off the rip? No. I think if anything, within the next couple of weeks, we probably can sit there and see solidly about 35 or $36,000, because because there's solid plays being handled. So I definitely think that can be done. I really believe in the next 45 days we're going to have a strong indication that a ETF is about to be is going to be done, because by by the rules is this. BlackRock put theirs in. The SEC has 45 days on the first initial review to basically like respond. Now, anytime after that first 45 days, if it does get extended, traditionally at that point, it just isn't going to pass muster. They just basically string it out. They just normally just, they just string it out and just string it out. So I really believe within that, within the next 45 days, we're gonna have a strong indication. And I just believe the way how BlackRock is, BlackRock does not like looking like a fool. Yep. So for a company that has that type of pool, that type of money, and anytime you have a CEO that says we quote unquote we enforce compliancy, he basically stated that's how they operate. So somebody can decide that they want to buck against them, but just like you said, don't be surprised if somebody got a cough later and they go missing.
Right. Yeah, really. I mean, and I'm with you on that. I agree with you. Like right now, 35 is super feasible. All of 35 takes is for one more popular person. If Elon come out tomorrow, I'm like, hey, guess what I just did with some Bitcoin, y'all? That's 33 right there. So I'm with you. 35 can happen in 2 weeks or less. Yes. While you were talking, it wouldn't surprise me leading up to that date. And, that's what Jake was calling that August date for as well. That brings us 45 days out. It would not surprise me if as we got to it or closer to it or whatever, we're almost at like a 50K Bitcoin, late, mid 40s, almost 50. My thing is, how will the market act if, let's say, they do get the ETF? We still got to be buyer education. And then if they don't get it, do we just do a big dip, or is it going to be well, we're here already, let's keep it going? So I don't know. This is like what I love about this market is like it's madness. Right. It's so many different things coming from so many different directions. But like you said, Bitcoins, they said BlackRock, they don't lose. I think they only been denied one time out of like 500 and something for ETF. So we're gonna see. This is about to get interesting. It's gonna get interesting.
Yeah. And look, like I tell people like right now, if you got the coin right now, one of the safest bets right now is Grayscale BTC. If you go buy it right now, the discount is what, 38, 39%. If you look, if now true, you're buying it with an understanding you're not going to get the Bitcoin, but you are going to get the cash. So an ETF kicks off. Anybody that bought Grayscale BTC, anybody that bought it, that price and that discount is going to immediately just drop. It's going to go to zero. At that point, you got 30% profit. I would basically take the profit and basically go buy some more Bitcoin. I'm saying, and then I would buy, and then I would buy Bitcoin, because at one point, Grayscale had basically dropped to, on the discount, it was as high, I think, as about 44, 45%. So this ETF hits, you get it at 38. I'll say at a 30% discount, it's gonna go, that discount is gonna go away, and all that is profit. At that point, if you got a couple, take your profit, go ahead and go buy some Bitcoin then.
There Easy money for you. There it is. Well, Elmac, appreciate you calling in as always. Have a happy Friday and get to your destination safe there, brother.
All right, brothers. All right, see you. And look, I appreciate you guys.
Hey, same. We appreciate all you all on this insight as well, because I'm not checking Grayscale too hard. So hey, we got to have somebody ancillary to throw it out there.
Oh yeah, all right. I know, but as a dollar play, it's a smart move.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, 30% on a dollar. Yeah, any day. Hey, listen, folks, that will help pay for y'all medicine out here in California. All right. Appreciate it, Omac. Have a good one, man. Take care.
Man. Puff, puff, give. I got it. Puff, puff.
There we go. All right. Take care. All right. Last story, but not least, we're going to end it on a great news story. Shout out to Michael Saylor, putting his money where his mouth is. He is definitely buying Bitcoin. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy buys $347 million in Bitcoin following a recent upswing. Of course, this was a month ago, or not, I said a month ago. This is a couple of days ago. I saw this during our live show. You all brought this up. I was going to say, of course, this article is blog. Are people paying for articles online? I mean, I don't know. Huh. It has to be some very compelling writing for me. And this is not it. But why? You can get everywhere else. It is what it is. But yeah, this is pretty interesting. You can see here the firm he brought over 12,000 Bitcoin for 347 million in the last 2 months. Okay, so last 2 months he bought that much. 12,333 Bitcoin for $347 million in cash between April 29th and June 27th. All right, so this is my point as well. And I'm sure people like Michael Saylor know what's going on when it comes to the other institutions and their ETF stuff. I mean, I'm not nearly as plugged in as him. I know about a lot of things that go on. But I mentioned that because he could also be buying this Bitcoin in anticipation of it as well. And we could be having groupthink, as we've seen before in other parts of this industry and other industries. This could be a form of groupthink where it's like Michael Saylor's like, hey, I heard Fidelity and BlackRock's about to do an ETF application. Well, hey, he could have called them. They could have said, yeah, we are. And we're going to go hard. And we talked to all these people in the SEC, right? I'm painting you best case scenario right here. I'm going to give you the best case scenario. Michael Saylor gets the birdie. BlackRock, Fidelity. Calls Fidelity, BlackRock. You guys doing the ETF? Yep. And I'm giving you best case, right? So maybe some of this wasn't even said. But let's just say they are friendly. They're friends with each other. You know, everybody likes each other. They all make money together. BlackRock, Fidelity, ETF. Yeah, man, we are. Actually, we already talked to some people at the SEC. We talked to some people in this part of government, that part of government. You know how we do. We good to go. Cool. I'm about to slowly buy a Bitcoin for the next 2 months, right? Groupthink. Blah, 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 blah. Fast forward. Should be an automatic. Something happens where it doesn't go through, right? For whatever reason. It doesn't go through and it catches them all off guard. Oh, I mean, and especially if the price starts to dip, right? Let's say some of their other friends, their other banker friends that they told, I'm gonna do the ETF. Oh, we're gonna buy Bitcoin. They're doing all that right now, and the price is at $30,000. Once again, that's my thing. This behind the scenes could be happening to keep the prices high to begin with. If they don't get it, and it is a big gotcha moment, then I don't know. Like this thing could dip, and then if it does start to dip, who's to say all that Bitcoin Michael Saylor bought up? He won't start selling at favorable prices right now and saying we'll get it back when it's back 10K, 12K, 13K. So I don't know. Again, this is the cool, fun thing about this market. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. These are multi-billionaires. There's only a handful of multi-billionaires on the planet. I'm sure they all have each other's number. And then you also have the government doing this thing. Then you have people in the government who want to become like popular. The SEC guy Gary Gensler, he wants to, hey, I'm not even going to use this. I was going to use a bad example. I don't want to use this example because I don't want to go after this guy. I like this guy. He's a popular figure, so I won't use example. But essentially, he's this person who's just trying to be the star singer, right? The star player. He's trying to take all the shine. SEC Gary Gensler is all about me. Forget the American government. Forget taxpayer. Forget Americans. It's all about Gary Gensler and what I deem security, right? So, that's the curveball, right? He could be the curveball. There could be somebody in his office that could be the curveball. It could be a government agency. CFTC could be the curveball. Like, oh, how come you all get to have ETFs and everything? That's going to say that it isn't a commodity. It is security and all this other stuff. Like, there's so many different people who could throw curveballs in the background. So like I said, it'll be very interesting to see. I will continue to say I think it's going to be some bullshit if they do get an ETF on the first go round. I mean, if they do, honestly, I'm just going to start applying to BlackRock every year. And they'll be like, why do you want to work here? You got your own thing going. I'm like, I mean, clearly y'all run shit. Like for real. Like let me grow old in this organization so I can help and start running shit too. Clearly, since you all are more powerful than our government, like to get your ETF application the first go around. So if that were to happen, I don't know. I might have to consider that. We'll see what happens. All right. Other than that, that is the show for today. Let me look at the last few comments. Where's Michael Saylor buying his Bitcoin from? I guess Ledger, right? Just kidding. I'm not sure, but yeah, most of it is usually OTC. I mean, you have to remember there's also I'm sure as his company they wouldn't do it, but for individuals for sure, there's a lot of individuals who have a lot of Bitcoin. So don't forget, Michael Saylor could literally call the Gemini twins. Hey, Can you sell me 50 million of Bitcoin right now? They might be like, yeah, I can. So those also happen as well. And then there's also companies and people who legitimately just do over the counter stuff. And people, I saw this other day, Larry said, no, King, don't go to the dark side. The other day when you was like, I keep telling y'all I'm gang for real already. Like, what? I was a naval officer, people. When I was talking about globalization and everything, when I'm talking about globalization and this, it is a dark side. But here's the thing. I'm a firm believer of, like, if you get in there, you can change things. You have to get in there first. And sometimes getting in there, you have to play the game too. But you can change things once you're in there. I'm a strong believer of that, big believer of that. Shout out to the Navy. First thing they tell, at least my officer class, they told everybody, like, hey, if you ever want to change anything, you literally have the power to change it, no matter how much higher ranking a person is, wherever. The only thing is you have to do all the legwork, and they're not going to pay you to do, like, you're going to have to use your own time and money to do surveys, find the stats, write up the resources, send it to the Pentagon, get approved from this person, get approved from that. Like, you have to do all of it. But once it's all said and done, you can change policy. You, as an officer, you have that power. So again, even if I'm on the dark side, I have the power to change things for the right reason. So that's why I'm just like, I don't trip too bad about it. There we go. Bitcoin Chris, what's the word? What's going on?
What's going on with you, King?
Man, another day, another Satoshi. Of course, before or after you get finished, I have to get your thoughts on Bitcoin ETF and price movement as well. But what you got for us?
Absolutely. Just wanted to say what's up. Hop on here and let you know that, I appreciate you. I love the longer shows, the shows that you do, bro. Stop complaining. I don't know who's complaining about these long shows, bro, but
they're
keep
not even
doing the long
intentional.
shows.
They're not intentional either. Like, I literally today told myself I was going to do 20 minutes and slide, and I
Nah, bro, you
kept
can't be
looking
doing
like,
that, bro.
goodness gracious.
You'll be doing us a disservice if you did that, bro. You'll be doing us a
Much appreciated,
disservice.
man.
Yes, sir. So I I know that gang gonna gang, right? And it is what it is. But I wanted to let you guys know about my bullish and my bearish scenario with Bitcoin, right? So for Bitcoin, when the lows this year, or when Bitcoin went from 3,000 to 69,000, right? That was a 23x from last cycle. So my bearish price target for this cycle is about $220,000 to $345,000. The reason why is because that's a 14 to 23x from the lows of 15,000. Now, the reason is because the diminishing supply, supply and demand, it's a finite asset, along with institutions buying, like Michael Saylor and, Tether alone. Those two companies alone are buying tons of Bitcoin, not including any other government, any other countries. Russia's mining Bitcoin. El Salvador's about to have volcano bonds and mining Bitcoin. And we don't even know about any other countries that are going to be mining Bitcoin. My bad. All right. So with that being said, I think we just go much higher. That's my bearish scenario with Bitcoin. My bullish scenario is $350,000 to $750,000, just based on everything that's going on.
Wait. The bearish number though is 23, right?
220,000 to 345,000 is my bearish scenario for Bitcoin.
Oh. All right, and what's the bullish? Let's get the bullish one in.
Bullish scenario is $350,000 to $750,000 per Bitcoin.
By and when are these dates you're looking at?
This is by 2025. The end of 2025.
The end? Okay. By the end, I can actually. Let's see him. This is the only thing that throw me off. It's because I do believe we're going to have an $80,000 candle, and psychologically, I don't know what's that going to do to not only normal everyday citizens, but to governments. I don't know, especially if you have a state like North Carolina using it as a reserve currency. If it's a state or a company using that as any type of reserve, and it goes a 40% drop, but it ain't the old days 40%. It's 80, 90K, 40%. I don't like that. That's, to me, I'm good on everything when it comes to Bitcoin in this market up until that day. When that day happens,
what would cause
the
price to drop that much if there's no liquidity and there's not enough Bitcoin on exchanges for them to sell? Who's gonna if they already have all the Bitcoin being bought up?
Listen, we are underestimating the flip side. I mean, what happens to the guy or the gal who's been a holder since 69K right now? They get or 70, so 70K goes to 140. I'm finally made mine back plus more. Finally, I'm gone. That's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
and even organizations, the Michael Saylors of the world. Like, and this is what I'm saying, where this greed can get them killed too, as far as like in the markets. It's like, all right, you've made millionaires billionaires, you've made normal people millionaires at this point, and you're not going to sit, like, you're going to keep in it, stay in the game. Yeah, many will, some won't, I think, but I don't know. But so 2025, 230, 420 or so, and a high of we're like 7 something. I'm with it though. Like I said, I know we'll be in the hundreds, 200, so I'm with it.
220. I mean, 220 is a bear scenario, and even Max says that as well. And I did the math, because again, we went from 3,000 to 69,000 in the last blow off top. So, you know, if we just did the same thing, that's 220,000.
We have to add with that though. COVID definitely. I mean, listen, people was living like everybody, like rock stars. People was living like everybody was on deployment. Okay,
but that was the second. You have to
hey, Bitcoin Zay. Hey, Bitcoin Zay had a baby. Bitcoin Zay had a baby. Okay, all right, that's COVID. when Bitcoin was $3,000, Bitcoin Zay had a baby. That's my new saying right there.
Well, you know, everything's in cycles. You know, so you know, even though Biden's in office right now, it's this time of the cycle where everything is suppressed. And I think when 2024 comes around, I think, in my opinion, hopefully Trump gets back in office. And I'm not endorsing any side. I don't care about politics. But when Trump gets in office, he's gonna let that bag go. We all gonna get the bag again. The market's gonna pump again.
Hey, that's why. Hey, listen, what it is. I will say this: if I haven't made it clear already, people, I don't care about either side. They're both terrible to me. But I'm with you. I will say Trump was great.
Bro, we got that bag, bro.
Listen, people. Listen, when a person got their own dirt they trying to hide, they don't got time to be worrying about what every American doing. He was like, look, he like, y'all go ahead and feed yourselves and don't bother me. All right, so I'm with you on that. Whether it's him or it's someone like him, I'm with you. If anyone similar to Trump comes along who like, hey, I'm over here worried about Miss Universe, I ain't over here worried about what you're doing, like, that's gonna be great for the market. So, and you're right, something like that could add another that could add 100,000 easy. Just that's what I'm sentiment. Saying. Okay, exactly. I'm with you on that.
So, all right, well, and then I want to talk some crap about the Hexicans, right, real quick. Where the Hexicans at, man? Where they at, man?
Man, they've been missing, man. Oh man, listen. My thing with the Hex really quick is just, I don't know if it's agnostic or it's just ignorance or what, but it's just like, you really think you're different. You really thought you was different. We tried to tell you too. Okay. What are your thoughts? All right. What are your thoughts?
No, I just keep that flashback of last time I was on here with you guys of Richard Hart shopping at Louis Vuitton, every week. That's
we
all.
Said that was a bad look. We said that was a bad look right there. That's when I knew. When I saw that Louis Vuitton in the shopping, that's when I was like, oh, it's over. This is listen. When they get to spending the money in front of you,
the disrespect was real.
The disrespect is real. Oh man,
that's so funny. So I'll just go ahead and talk about the ETF real quick, and that'll be it. Oh yeah, let's look at that Hex price. Go to the year. Go to the year. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. Oh, the year. Let's see the year. Whew. Well, it did get up there though. I mean, 10 cent from its 48 cent, 49. Man, it's funny. Rap careers and everything. I tell you, man.
What are your thoughts on Post-Chain? Post-Chain?
Listen, Post-Chain, I think honestly, oh man, Post-Chain, like the technology, the innovation, the sophistication, it has to be one of the greatest scams I ever saw. Like one of the great, I won't even say scam. I'll take scam back. One of the greatest hustles I ever saw. That was just straight hustle. 3-car Monty for the whole world. Everybody come get some. Listen, do you know how strong your lip game have to be to get people to just come serious to using the word sacrifice, not even using a different word? Your lip game, like Richard Hart. Actually, shout out to Richard Hart. You are a hell of bro. If anything, you go to the Guinness Book Hall of Fame as one of the greatest marketers next to the Big Neck crew. Like, You told people to sacrifice their money, and they said okay. I mean,
If people are
I'm
willing to
with
do
it.
it, then you can't fix
I'm
stupid.
with it. Everybody
Yeah,
grown. You know what?
exactly.
And I'll say this to be serious. I hope it does work out because who's telling? Like, I already know it's someone who put too much in that they should not have. I know it. So I hope they can get that figured out. I hope they do have a killer project or something happen. I hope it. But
I think he'll pump. I think he'll
yeah,
pump in
there
the
you
market.
go.
I
There
think
you
everything, you know.
go.
But as of
Everything.
right now,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great point. Great point. It'll pump with 200 when Bitcoin's 200K. Then yeah, all that shit will be back, and they can do their victory lap. Like, hey, we up this 600%. It's like, yeah, the market's up 6,000%, but whatever. They'll do the victory lap then.
yeah.
Hey, like I said, if anything, you have to appreciate a human telling groups of humans to. Is that what I need to do? Shit. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna put a QR code on here. Give me 50% of y'all bank accounts. All right. Tired of this bullshit. I'm gonna just do that. And I
Yo,
might build a park for your kids in your neighborhood. All right. How about that? So give me your money and I might build you something. What were you about to say?
Jason Fever be sipping on Henny, bro. Stop drinking that poison. That shit is nasty. And stop making the owners of Louis Vuitton rich, bro. Stop making these people rich by buying Hennessy and buying all this poison for your skin. Everybody like to drink all that bullshit. Drink some water, man. God made
Oh,
water, not
there
Hennessy.
it is. Well, I will say this. Ever since last year, I haven't been able to look at Hennessy still. So yeah, I'm done for now. All right. Anything else you got for us, Bitcoin Chris, we call it a day?
Yeah, man. Bitcoin tatted. I got no fear.
Here we
Stack your
go.
Bitcoin. If you guys want $10 free Bitcoin, go to swanbitcoin.com/Bitcoin Chris. Get your $10 free. If you guys are shopping anyway, I teach financial literacy and tell people to use their credit cards, get cash back, get all that good stuff. But if you're a Bitcoiner, then you need to be using your Fold card, right? The Fold card's gonna get you free. You're gonna shop anyway, right? You're gonna go get gas. You're gonna go shop on Amazon. You're gonna buy your Hennessy anyway, Jason. You're gonna buy all that anyway. Y'all better be using that Fold card to get free Satoshis. So that's all I want to say. Happy Friday. Shout out to the gentleman of crypto. Shout out to Bitcoin Zay. Shout out to you, King. And continue to stack away. Much love.
Hey, same. Really quick. Say that link again.
Oh, it's just swanbitcoin.com/Bitcoin Chris. Get $10 free Bitcoin.
There you go, people. Free Bitcoin. Don't say you didn't have an opportunity to get it. Hey, that was a great way to take us out. Smash that like and share. The podcasts have been updated, folks, and you should see them all start promulgating throughout.